Well, live custom streaming. We're live now. We're broadcasting live. Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. The messages of inspiration, hope, and support. We're so glad that you're here. We got three wonderful speakers with us today. My goodness gracious, got some very interesting topics. But the speakers are going to be also on the Messages of Inspiration, Hope, and Support page at speakerspathway.com. Let me share my screen with you, if I may, and show you where you'll find some of these wonderful speakers, the ones we've had in the past, the ones we have today. And let me go to speakerspathway.com. This is our homepage up here, speakerspathway.com. If you scroll down just a little bit, you'll see Messages of Inspiration, Hope, and Support. And this is a snapshot of three of our speakers, previous speakers. Just click on See More. As we scroll down to the bottom, you can see that we got each individual speaker's presentation. And we've got pages and pages and pages, and there's a lot more that needs to be added because we're adding them as quick as we can. If you see an individual speaker's message you'd like to click on that. And you will be able to play the individual message on that particular speaker. You can read up about it. Most importantly, if you know of someone that can benefit from this speaker or any of our speakers' message, please share it with them. And please have the courtesy to get in touch with the individual speaker and say, thank you so much. You know, I really enjoyed it. I shared it with someone else, because they would really appreciate that, because they donate their time, their effort, and their energy to be here to share their message of inspiration, hope, and support. We're also sponsored by the 6-Minute Webinar. The 6-Minute Webinar, in a nutshell, ladies and gentlemen, is a true webinar that starts with a beginning and has all the way down to a call to action. You can click on that little arrow right there. You can learn all about it, because the 6-Minute Webinar enables you to get your message across in a very clear, precise, and short time. Now, let's bring some speakers onto the stage. How about that? Let me bring Crystal Richardson on. Give her the spotlight, because Crystal's a lot better looking than me, and everybody says I agree with that. And I'm going to be doing a little work over here. I got to cut off some cameras here. And Crystal, today, would you share with the folks what you're going to be sharing with us?
Today, I'll be talking about jumping into your greatness.
I like that. When she said that before we went live, I says, that means without a safety net too. You're my kind of girl. Let me do two things. Let me cut off my camera and mute my mic, and the stage is yours.
Well, greetings, everybody. I am so thrilled and so happy to be here today with you on this event. And what I want to talk about today is jumping into your greatness. Let me say that again. We're going to talk about jumping into your greatness. I grew up where my parents sent me to kindergarten with my little plastic briefcase and told me I could be anything I wanted to be. I could do anything I wanted to do. And as soon as I got in the door, I was met with a few friends, but I was also met with bullying. And throughout my life, I've accomplished a number of things as far as, you know, rising up in corporate America, doing missions trips and activating my faith. I've been to about 25 countries or so doing all of this. But when I turned 50 years old, which was 5 years ago, there were some things that rose up in me related to still allowing people to dim my light. So even with all of the things that I had accomplished, I still had more that I knew that I was capable of. And so that was the time that I said to some specific individuals and to some specific things that were going on in my life, I said no more. I then started out on about a 2.5-year journey of discovery of myself and understanding more related to what I was even capable of related to my greatness. So what I want to talk to you today about is jumping into your greatness. We all have a story. We all have some things maybe that have kept our light diminished. So my 3-part program, and part of what we're going to go over today, is the first thing is related to evaluation. We're going to evaluate our faith and our focus. That is key. What are your beliefs? What are you focused on at any given time on any given day? The next portion has to do with eviction. There's a number of things that we need to evict in our lives, whether it's people or places or things that we're doing. We all have something that is holding us back that we need to evict. The last part of it is elevation. elevation. And I talk about elevating based on our unique freedom formula. So what I want to talk about today, I have this little visual aid, which is jump, jump. And what does that mean? That means that you need to just take the limits off and to pay attention. Pay attention, because we all have different opportunities that come our way, but we don't necessarily recognize them, right? We don't always recognize the opportunities that are coming our way. The same with fresh thoughts. If we evaluate what's going on and we know that sometimes what we need to do is what? We need to smash our trash, smash our trash. What's trash? What's trash in our lives? Maybe it might be fear. It might be that we're phony, like we have on a mask every single day. Like I was living my life where there were things that were going on that I just smiled and went through, when really that was not being authentic. And so part of what I talk about related to jumping into your greatness is being your authentic self. Be your authentic self. And I do talk a lot about fear. And Napoleon Hill has a number of fears that he talks about as well. But I want to give you my definition so that you can write this down and understand it, as well as put it to practice in your life. Fear. How do you spell fear? F-E-A-R. Let's try that again. How do you spell fear? F-E-A-R. So my definition and how I use that word is fresh energy awaiting reset. I'll say that again as well. Fresh energy awaiting reset. Now, when we think about energy, when we're excited, our heart is pumping, we might be perspiring. We're like, oh my gosh. And we just have all of this energy in us. And the same thing happens when we're fearful, right? When there's something that comes along that we're afraid of, we have our heart is going. We're perspiring and we're like, oh my gosh. So it's the same kind of emotional response. So my challenge for you today is to jump into your greatness and use that energy of fear. Anything that you might be afraid of, use it. Use it as fresh energy awaiting reset, and put that energy toward your goals. Put that energy toward your family. Put that energy toward your business. It may be monetization, or it may just be that you want to have your own unique freedom formula. That is the foundation of everything that I do. We talk about putting in place your own unique freedom formula. So I want to ask you today, what are some things that you need to evict? What are some things that you need to evict? The sign behind me talks about evicting those barriers. There's those things that are holding us back. We need to just break through them. So we're going to jump into our greatness by breaking through those barriers. And what do you need to do in order to do all of that? You need to do what this little sign says right here. You need to believe. So many of us don't believe in ourselves. We don't believe in our own dreams. We don't believe those things that we see, that we might admire in other people. Well, I am here to tell you that you do have it within you. We all were put on this earth and created by God to be the best version of ourselves. And if we put our faith into practice, whatever your faith may be, we focus on the things we need to focus on, and we evict those things that are holding us back, then we're able to do it. We're able to do it. And so again, I want to challenge you. I'm pretty competitive in real life, and I'm competitive even when I'm speaking, because of the fact that we sometimes, what we do is we give ourselves an out. We give ourselves an out when we really shouldn't. We go and sit down on the couch, or we just stay in our proverbial home of not going out and doing those things that we're capable of. Well, I'm also here to encourage you to tap into your future self. Tap into it and just see. Maybe you can close your eyes and have where you do a mindfulness exercise, a breathing exercise, to have where you have that time of focus to say, well, what am I potentially capable of? What are the things that I want out of life? How am I supposed to impact the world? What was I even put on this world, in this world to do? Once you start asking yourself those questions, and once you start actually believing the fact that you are put here for a purpose, that you were put here to fulfill your dream so that you can help someone else to fulfill their dream. It's all related to jumping into your greatness. It's all related to evaluating, evicting, and elevating. And then what comes next after that? Execution. Execution. You execute all of the different plans and things that you've put in place. All of them. All of them. Because guess what? Tomorrow is not promised. And based on all of the things that have already been going on in the world, especially some of the things that are going on right now, we're seeing firsthand that tomorrow is not promised. So again, I want to challenge you to wake up each morning and have some kind of ritual that you do every morning related to affirmation, related to gratitude, related to prayer, related to exercise and a good meal, whether that's, you juice your greens or whatever it is that you may do, but give yourself the nourishment that you need to have at the right time. Some people do intermittent fasting. I know I try not to eat till 12 o'clock, but whatever your ritual is, get up and be on purpose about jumping into your greatness. Wake up each morning and be on purpose about fulfilling why you are here on this earth. There's someone that's waiting for you to jump so that they can jump. There really is. There's someone that is waiting for you to jump so that they can jump. When I went through that 2.5-year period from 50 to 52 and a half or so, after that, the possibilities have really become endless. They've come endless because that's when I started my radio show, and now it's being listened to with people from over 40 countries. There's thousands of people who've listened in, and it's not just because of that, but all of the opportunities that have come my way that I can now recognize. If you go back to one of the first things that I said, I talked about jumping into your greatness has to do with being able to recognize opportunities that come your way. It also has to do with you using your energy, fresh energy awaiting reset. So are you ready to reset today? Are you able and willing and just really just energetic about what it is that you were put here for? So that word challenge has come up, and I'm just going to say it again. I want to challenge you to get your pencil and paper out and write down just 3 things that you might think that you were here for. Some people do this in relation to their vision board, and there's all different areas of vision, but just 3 things that you think that you were put on this earth to do. And then maybe start putting some plans around that. Now, I've worked in a lot of different industries. I've worked with lots of different types of people. We have where our show is about millionaires and billionaires and those who are the types of people that have been on my show. But then I also have where we have a give back model with Full Color Movement International. It's fullcolormovement.com, where we work a lot with the homeless and at-risk youth. So with those 3 things that you were put on this earth to do, 2 of them can be about you and your business, but one needs to be, in my opinion, related to a give back model. What are you doing to have impact in this world? So I really appreciate you. I thank you for listening to Jumping Into Your Greatness. My name is Crystal Richardson with Above Your Best, and I want you to always think about this one thing: fresh energy awaiting reset. Fear is just fresh energy awaiting reset. And now I'm going to do one of the things that I do at the end of a number of my talks is say, never settle for less, always be above your best. Let me say that again. Never settle for less, always be above your best. And if you think about that, if you do the hand movements and get your body and your energy going, then you'll be able to do it. Don't keep your mind stagnant. Don't keep your body stagnant. Let's always be above your best. I really appreciate being on today. And if anyone would like to get in contact with me, my Instagram is I am Crystal. That's I am KRYSTYLLE. My Facebook is Crystal Richardson, KRYSTYLLE Richardson. And you can get in contact with me based on that. That is also my website, crystalrichardson.com. I've really enjoyed my time today. And remember, never settle for less. Always be above your best. Thank you.
Wow, thank you very much. I was sitting there and I was just really impressed with your message and everything. I mean, my goodness gracious. You know, you're the type of lady that I really, in person, I'd like to have on the show because I love the fact that you're kind of like a coach. Come on, you can do this. I mean, get it up and get it going and let's have some fun, you know. And I really like that you quoted Napoleon Hill. And you've been in 25 different countries. You've got a very successful radio show. My goodness gracious. I mean, lady, and you just keep smiling and smiling and smiling, because one thing that I tell people, the more love and the more energy, positive energy you share with others, it's going to just empty you out, where you got a lot more coming your way, because the energy flows. Everything's a vibration in the universe. It really is. And if the more you share, one thing I've learned in life, ladies and gentlemen, if there's one thing I've learned in life, and I'm kind of a slow learner, I'm going to be 72, so I'm starting to learn how to, spell podcast and host and all those big words. But there's one thing I've learned in life, and that is this: you cannot outgive the master giver in life. Mm-hmm. It's impossible. The more you want to be happy, start giving things away. Start giving of your talents, your efforts, everything you can do to bless someone else. I mean, my goodness gracious. And Crystal, I know that you'll agree with me on this, is because someone may be sitting out there and they're thinking, wow, I don't know if I could do what Jim or Crystal does or anything like that, because, who'd want to listen to me? Your story, you'd be able to relate that to someone that I couldn't relate to, and maybe Crystal couldn't. Wouldn't you agree with that, Crystal?
Yeah, I definitely would. And all of the people, even who've been on my show, Soaring with Eagles, it's on Voice America Empowerment, they say the same thing. Like, initially, who would listen to me? But why wouldn't someone listen to you? Everyone has a story. Everyone has something to share that can help them be great and help someone else be great.
And I'd like to share this too, because I do it many times. Some of the folks out there that's been following the show probably heard it, but in 1969, there was a #1 hit by a guy by the name of Joe South, and that is "Walk a Mile in My Shoes Before You Criticize and Accuse." Now, the reason why I mention that is because you've walked a mile in your shoes. You could inspire someone with your story and help them in their hour of need. That's why we go through trials and tribulations and survive, to help others do the same thing. That's why we're here. And Crystal, I tell you right now, with your energy and all that, when you said that you were 50 years of age 5 years ago, I got you beat, girl. I mean, I think I can see 50 way back or somewhere in the rear view mirror. But I tell you what really amazes me, and I've seen this consistently. We had a young lady on, Dr. Madabi, the other day. Probably mispronounced her last name. She'll forgive me. But all of the things that she's done in her life, and you're in that same category, when you share and you love and all that, you don't age. I mean, you first came on, I thought you were about 25 or 30,
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we can go out to lunch one day and you can buy me a chili cheese hot dog. That's what I tell people when I do something.
I'll buy you a green juice. We got juice. We have to do our juices.
Okay. All right. Okay. As long as I can drive afterwards, I'll drink any juice. But no, sincerely, I mean that as a compliment, because, it just really shocked me, all the things you've done, because the energy that your energy helps you blossom on the inside. Mm-hmm. And I may tell you, people ask me when I'm going to retire, and I've said this many times, folks, forgive me, but I tell people the day before I die, because remember now, when we were growing up, I imagine your parents are like mine. They were always concerned about who I was running around with. You're known by the company you keep, all that. That never has been rescinded, because if I hang around people my age, I'm going to start complaining about aches and pains and stuff like that. And I don't need that, because that's not what I'm here for. And that's what, Crystal, your message was all about come out of your safety zone there, don't be afraid to jump, kind of like the Pointer Sisters. Go ahead and jump, because I like the Pointer Sisters. And got kissed by one of them one time after a concert in Phoenix. God. Yeah, on the cheek now, on the cheek.
Come on, Jim, come on.
Well, what happened was that I says, I am so upset with you three young ladies. And they looked at me kind of funny. I said, because my hands are sore from clapping and my voice is, hoarse from singing, And I started laughing. One of them just kissed me on the cheek there, just as a friend, friendly thing. And, it's just because I like all kind of music, and music is a great motivator too. It really is. And I'm going to keep yakking with you, because Crystal, you're a kind of lady I could speak with a lot, because I love your energy. I love what you bring to the party. But I've got to bring Tina on, because Tina's going to say, when is Jim going to hush? I'm a radio show host. I'm paid to talk, right? But Let me just mute your mic there and shut off your camera if I may, Crystal. If you're around, if you're able to stay with us till the end, I'll bring all the guests back on and we visit a little more. So if you're able to stay with us, we'd love to have you. And let me see here. Okay, stop video. And I got to wake up, see if Tina is, Tina, let me send you a request to turn your video on and let me unmute you. Got to do all this techie stuff. Okay, good deal. Tina, thank you so much for waiting for us. There you go. You got the spotlight now. You're going to be talking to us about how to have freedom in the face of grief and loss. And I know that's going to be a powerful message a lot of people would love to hear. Let me shut off my video, mute my mic, because the stage is yours.
Thank you, Jim. It's an honor to be here to share this information with you today, because it is possible to have freedom even in the face of grief and loss. Again, as Jim said, my name is Tina Ridge, and I am a grief and loss coach. I dealt with anxiety and depression almost my entire life. I was living in this internal prison. On this side over here, gripping that bar of all the things that had happened to me in my past that I'd never dealt with. And over here on this side was everything that I was worried about that was going to happen or could happen in the future. All those fears that I had. But I knew deep down inside that I was created for more than that. There was more for me in this life. It shouldn't be about being anxious and having panic attacks and being in this constant state of fear and worry. So deep down, I knew that there was something more, and I felt like I was doing everything to be the best version of myself, but I was just stuck and I couldn't figure out why. And, I've always been into self-help, and I was reading a book one night and it talked about doing a prayer of transformation. And I just remember this overwhelming feeling that I call spirit was just talking to me that said, Tina, you've got to do this. You've got to do a prayer of transformation. And so I did. That night I wrote it out and I prayed. A couple short weeks after that, I was driving home from work. I was on the interstate, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I was hit by a dump truck on the driver's side. The dump truck hit me and spun my car sideways and continued pushing me forward for what felt like an eternity. And in that moment, all I could think about was never seeing my kids again, my husband, my family. It was a near-death experience for me. All I could think about was I'm dying, and I was just waiting in that moment for my car to flip and for the lights to go out. But by the grace of God, that didn't happen. What did happen for me after that traumatic event, and what's common after we go through traumatic things, were all of these other old loss, grieving experiences started bubbling up for me again. Things that I had suppressed, many that had happened to me when I was very young, that I had pushed down and never really walked through those emotions for those experiences. It wasn't just death. Death, yes, that is a grieving experience. I had death of loved ones, but it was also being bullied in school and having a traumatic experience with a second grade teacher and having breakups of romantic relationships and being in an abusive relationship with someone who ended up stalking me after I finally ended the relationship. You see, grief and loss, it's not just death and divorce. It's so much more. We have intangible losses. For that car wreck, I had a loss of safety, a loss of control, a loss of what I thought was my life. And the way that I describe this to my clients and to people when I'm doing speaking engagements is that if you would imagine you got a backpack when you left the hospital when you were born, and you're walking along, and every time you experience a loss, you put a rock in that backpack. And it may be a tiny pebble or a giant boulder or anything in between. But if you are not taught how to deal with those things, we just walk along and just continue to chuck those in our backpack. And for me, that car accident was what broke my backpack. And all of those losses just came pouring out. I had a choice at that time. I could have sewed that backpack back up or got a new one and put all those rocks back in there. Or what I chose to do, by the grace of God, is I took each rock out and I evaluated it to see, is there anything unresolved emotionally for me with this experience in my life? And then I went on this amazing journey of self-discovery and transformation. And I allowed myself to walk through those experiences, to actually feel the emotions that I never let myself feel. And what came from that was freedom. And now I have the tools that I can use when I come up against a loss, a grieving experience. It doesn't make it less painful, but there's a process that we can walk through. And it all starts with our awareness around our emotions and allowing ourselves to feel what is coming up for us. Because when we suppress these feelings, we end up turning to negative behaviors, coping mechanisms, things like food, overeating, undereating, drugs, alcohol, distracting ourselves on the internet, Facebook, reading, anything that we do to distract ourselves from feeling what we need to feel. That's when it becomes negative behavior. Even serving other people, when you're doing it out of that, trying to cope and not allowing yourself to feel what's coming up, it can turn into negative behavior. So the first thing, the most important key thing is awareness. Awareness around what emotions are coming up for you. So I encourage you, when you start feeling a disturbance coming up in yourself, you know it, you can sense it in your body. That is the beautiful thing about our emotions, is that when they start bubbling up for us, it comes in physical form, and we can become aware of it and then allow ourselves to feel it. Write it down. Write down when you start feeling that uncomfortable feeling and you want to turn to food. At that moment in time, stop yourself and ask yourself, what is it that I don't want to feel right now? And write it down. Journaling is great for this. And even better than journaling is talking to a safe person. Someone that won't analyze, criticize, or judge you. Someone that will just be a big heart with ears and listen and allow you to get those emotions out. Whenever we express our emotions and give them voice, we feel freedom. We get a release from all of that pent up energy inside of us. And it is just such an honor that I help my clients do this for themselves. And they walk through this journey and they learn so much about who they truly are deep down. And they're no longer limited in their life by their past experiences. I was so limited in every experience I had. I was seeing the whatever experience was coming up, I was seeing that through these past experience glasses. I couldn't see clearly. I couldn't get out of that. But now I've found a process that allows people to connect with their inner soul, who they were created to be, so they can get out in this world and do great things. Because I truly believe we all know deep down that we were made for more. When we're stuck in that internal prison, even though we're so lonely and so sad and we may be feeling miserable but we've got our mask on and everybody thinks that we are okay, but we're really dying inside. We know deep down there's more. We just don't know how to get there. I didn't know how to get there. And thank God I found the way to get there. And I have truly now connected with myself. And it's an amazing feeling, and I love helping other people get there. If you are interested in learning more about what I do, you can visit my website. It's TinaRidge, TinaRidge.net. You can also email me if you have any questions at all. And my email is tina@tinaridge.net. And I am happy to share more information with you, more about my story. And if you're struggling, don't wait. Don't wait to reach out, because you're not alone. You're not alone in this world. And there are people like me that are willing to help you and to get you to the other side and connect you with your true inner self so you can shine for this world. It has been such an honor and pleasure to share my story with you. And I'm just so happy and thankful to be here today. Again, if you have any questions at all, reach out.
Thank you so very, very much. And I'll tell you something, Tina, my goodness gracious. If you were speaking on stage, I think I'd hate to have to follow you. You're that good.
Oh, thank you so much. This is my passion.
Oh, yeah,
If
I
you
can
haven't
see that.
noticed.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean that sincerely, because you have that unique gift and talent. When you were telling your story about that dump truck smashed into the car and it's pushing you, I mean, everybody could just visualize and picture themselves inside the vehicle with you. That's the power of telling a story.
Thank you, Jim.
And you're quite welcome. I mean, that was very powerful, very tremendous. And I love how you encourage people to talk to a trusted soul, someone that they feel safe with.
Absolutely.
Don McGrath and I, we created the Speakers Pathway Coalition, and we own the 6-minute webinar along with Bill Heinrich. We're the three owners of it. But I'll tell you right now, Don and I, many times we get together and we're talking about things, and we have Bill Heinrich. He's our coach, and we'll call up Bill, and we'll just start sharing some things with him, because he's a very safe source. He's a trusted source. He's a knowledgeable source. And many times what you really are looking for is clarity in your mind, how to address whatever it is that you're facing. And Tina, I'm so glad you brought that out, because that's extremely important for someone in their hour of need. And just like Crystal was talking earlier, that's why we're here, is to help one another.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
And like Crystal said, that fear is what holds us back. And just, when we can be the light for other people, and they can see that they're not alone, and there are people that can help them through this hard time.
Mm-hmm. You're
Just
exactly right.
Step out of that fear.
Yeah. And the way you also brought out, and it's very important, because I knew a person one time, he was a good guy, bless his heart. Just if anybody could goof something up, he could do it. He was just one of those guys. That just seemed to be his, something he did. But every time he got into a tight space or a hard space or something like that, he always chose the wrong path, and all he did was hurt himself even further. And I'm so glad that you brought that out, because, when you're looking for, to get your feet back on solid ground, don't hurt yourself in the process. It's because so many people do that. They just, like right now, if they're bored at home or if they're worried, they might go to the refrigerator and overeat and stuff like that. And
yeah, absolutely. And if we're looking through those past experience glasses and we're not seeing clearly, then we are going to continue to start going down those paths of negative behavior.
Yes. And you know, ladies and gentlemen, as you're watching this here, trust me on this. We are not, at least I'm not smart enough to bring great speakers like Crystal and Tina together on the same show. We're going to hear from Phil in just a few moments, because this is the energy that comes from a much higher source. Because the let me just simply say, the infinite intelligence of this universe looked at Jim and says, well, this boy's going to need some help. We're going to have to get everybody lined up, because, you know, that's part of the message I want you to understand today, or wanted to share with you, I should say. Excuse me for saying wanting you to understand, but share with you is that don't worry about, you know, how you're going to do stuff. Because if your focus is on helping someone, as Kylie, Crystal really pointed out, and Tina really pointed out there, the energy is going to help you. You're just going to be the vessel, basically, to deliver the energy. And Tina, we'd love to hear more from you a little bit later after the show. I got to bring Phil on now to give him a chance to share his message. But thank you so much. You got a powerful story. And remember, I would really hate to have to follow you on stage, young lady.
Thank you so much.
You smacked it right out of the park. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let me do a little techie stuff here behind the scene. When I'm on the radio, I've got a producer who does all that good stuff for me. And Phil, I'm going to unmute your mic, and I'm also going to send you a request to start your video. And there you are, sir. A lot of people don't know that, you know, Phil, your last name is Guinois. Am I correct on that, sir?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. And a lot of people don't know that your sister is my cousin. Did you? And that's news to you, since, you know, Donna, the way that happened, I got to tell a quick story out of school. I was on my way to Phoenix, and I'm familiar with Network Together, and the folks out there knew Donna, met. In fact, I'd spoken at her Scottsdale chapter there. And I was driving along, I'm heading back to Phoenix, and I don't remember why, but I had to call her for some reason. And so I, you know, she slowly answered this strange cell phone number, or phone number coming on her cell phone. And she said, hello. And I said, hey, how you doing there, Donna? And she says, I'm doing fine. Who's this? You know, because that sounds like her, right?
Yep.
And I said, this is your long lost cousin. And she says, oh, okay. Because she's, you know, you guys know all your cousins and everything. I got talking with her, and I said, Donna, this is Jim Grant. She's, oh my goodness gracious, how you doing? You know, we has hit it off. So since then, she's been my cousin. I've been her cousin. I think she adopted me, or I adopted her. But did she tell you that last week she was a guest on the radio show Your Future Is Now, and she was a guest host, and our guest was Marty Haggard.
I saw that, yeah.
Yeah. She's still thanking me over that one there. But you know what? The reason why I invited her on, because she's a huge fan of Marty Haggard, number one. Number two, the energy she would bring. And that's why I just, you know, it was a no-brainer for me. Let me do a couple things. You're going to be talking to us about fat, dumb, and not so happy, huh?
Yes, I am.
Okay, sir. Let me cut off my video and mute my mic and give you the center stage.
All right. Well, so first and foremost, I really want to thank Jim and Don at Speakers Pathway for the opportunity to just share my story with you today. And it's called Fat, Dumb, and Happy, and it is my story. So I really want to cover a couple of things. I want to share with you my health journey, because it is a journey. I want to, number two, share with you that your health is your wealth. And that number three, change is progressive. And number four, that your life, your family and friends deserve the healthiest you. You know, many times in life, I think that we end up in a place or a condition that we never thought we would be in. And I call that getting off track. And many times it's not even noticeable over time. So my intention today is to inspire you to be your best health, and for you to change what you know must change. Because I truly believe we all know what must change, but we don't always address it. You know, Ralph Waldo Emerson said, health is the first wealth. So let me take you back 30 years to my first career in the restaurant industry. Now, I specialized in new store opening and turnaround situations. And I enjoyed what I did. And I was extremely good at it, to the tune of over 80 successful locations. And I left that industry after having my own restaurant for 6.5 years, and I sold it for a very nice profit. But I left that industry because I saw how it aged people, including myself. And that's really when it all started. And you might ask, well, what all started? Well, it was the gradual increase of weight and a path to being unhealthy. My 3 girls were in grade school and junior high, so mornings were getting them ready to get out the door, and evenings were one or more activities several times a week. So who had time to work out or even eat our best? Certainly not us. Can you relate to that? Maybe you can. You know, over the next several years, it was a slow but a slippery slope of gaining 10 pounds, and then it became 30 pounds, and ultimately it was 110 pounds. By that time, I had high blood pressure, severe sleep apnea. I mean, and when I say severe, I mean really severe sleep apnea. My joints hurt. I couldn't really play with my girls. And I really remember my 2 change triggers like it was yesterday. My friend was 6'7", and we weighed the same. Now, let me back up and share with you. I'm 5'11". So he was 8 inches taller than I was. And my number 2 change trigger was that I could not breathe when I would bend over to tie my shoes. You know, and at first I ignored it. I ignored the facts, and it really just made it worse. So let me ask you this. How do you eat an elephant? The answer is 1 bite at a time. And that's exactly how you change your health. 1 small bite at a time, 1 short walk at a time, 1 less bad item in your shopping cart at a time, and 1 more vegetable at a time. You know, and that's really exactly what I did. Bite by bite, step by step, choice by choice, and soon the pounds begin to fall off. Now, I actually never say that I lost weight. I usually say I dropped or I released the weight, because I think that a loss is something that has a negative connotation. I began to add more activity into my life. I started doing more hiking and running and getting into the gym more often. I've even to include triathlons. Now, was it easy? No, it wasn't, but it was definitely worth it. And all I did was do my best. And each day I tried to add a little bit more each time. People in my life, my business began to notice not only the physical transformation, but my mental transformation. You know, and I noticed that I was having a bigger impact almost everywhere in my life. And I was beginning to become more open to possibilities beyond just what was happening in my health. So let's fast forward to today. My health is amazing. I'm actually 60 years old. I've dropped 110 pounds, and I've kept it off for 13 years. I no longer have sleep apnea. My blood work is nearly textbook perfect. I feel great. I've actually completed 6 triathlons. I cycle on any Saturday or Sunday, usually both, anywhere between 35 and 65 miles. Even here in Phoenix during the summertime when it's 95 to 100 degrees at 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning. So what has that done for me? What I've done is I've been able to take that same strategy of step by step and map it into my business. I've mapped it onto my relationships and so many other areas of my life that it has allowed me to be and to do more in my life. And for the people that are around me that I care about. And that seems to be expanding all the time. The people that are coming into my life, the opportunities that are coming into my life. And so I truly do believe, you know, what Ralph Waldo Emerson said, that as health is the first wealth. You have to get your health in order to have everything else working properly. So, you know, today I'm going to wrap up here. I shared my story with you. I shared that your health is your wealth, that change is progressive, and most importantly, that you, your family, your life, and your friends deserve the healthiest you. So I just want to offer up real quick, if I touched a chord with any of you, I first of all want to thank you for your time and attention. And I would like to offer my opportunity to chat with me. My website is my name, philguinois.com. I'm not going to spell that because it's quite hard to spell, but if you are watching this, you can see that. My email is pguinois@gmail.com. And again, I just really want to thank everybody for the opportunity to share my story. And if I can be of value and service to somebody else out there, I'd love to be able to do that. And Jim, thank you.
Well, sir, thank you very much. I tell you right now, I really resonated with what you're saying there because my goodness gracious, a lot of people are suffering from being overweight, especially during this time. And goodness gracious, because they overeat, they do that as something just to pass the time. And I remember years ago, I started suffering from arthritis. You might be able to see that crooked finger there a little bit. And with, diet, drinking plenty of fresh water, which I do, and, just focusing on my health because like you say, I mean, your health is, it's your wealth. It really is. There's a lot to it. And I was able to control it and I don't have any pain from it or anything like that. And it's very important because, when a person has their health, it's been said many times by many people, when you have your health, you have everything. And giving thanks and being grateful for all the blessings in life. I mean, because none of us are in charge of the next breath we're going to draw. And, Phil, I'm going to share this with the folks out there. I've only done it a few times in my life. And you've ever laid down in bed and maybe nothing really bothering you or anything like that in these cases, but I'm just laying there in bed and tick tock, my eyes won't sleep will not come.
Right.
And every single time that I started just a prayer of thanksgiving, because I'm real good at praying for petition. Hey, can you do this? Can you do that? But prayer of thanksgiving, I just started thanking, the Creator for everything that popped in my mind. Thank Him for my dog. Thank Him for, my chainsaw that cranked that day, because I had a McCullough one time, man. Time you got that thing cranked, you'd be worn out from trying to get it to crank. But just all the little things in life, whatever pops in your mind, everything, the big things like love and family and friends and all that. And you know what, Phil? I never, ever, ever finished that prayer. I simply drifted off to sleep and slept like a baby. And there's a young lady's been trying to get in here, and she's finally here, and Charlene Fouts. Charlene had to text me. She says she's going to be talking about learning to fly after sexual trauma. My goodness gracious. That's going to be a powerful message that's going to resonate with a lot of people. And I've got to bring her to the stage, Phil. And Phil, if you can hang around, we'll have a little bit of a hootenanny afterwards, with Crystal and Tina, and also with Charlene. But thank you again for your very powerful message. Really appreciate it, sir.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And let me cut off Phil's camera there. And let's see here. There we go. And let me send you a request, Charlene, to cut your video on. Hope you got it. There she is. How you doing? Let me give you the spotlight video. Thank you so much for being able to get with us and get in. We're so glad you're here. And let me cut off my video and mute my mic, and the stage is yours.
Well, thank you for having me. It was an event, but I made it. I'm so glad to be here. My name is Charlene Fouts, and I work with an organization called Healing Acres Never Again. We work with people who have been through sexual trauma. And so often in life, when we face trauma, especially sexual trauma, it can be overwhelming, and we can feel like we just can't go on anymore. And I'm here to tell you that that's not the case. I have been through incest, domestic violence, rape, and abortion, and God has just remade my life. And I believe that a lot of the storms and traumas that we experience in life actually forges our character. It gives us strength and confidence, and it shows us our purpose in life a lot of times. So I'm going to just tell you in the short amount of time that I have, I'm going to go over a little bit of my story and how God helped me walk through some of those trials. When I was a very young child, I was raped by my father, and from infancy, very young, up until my teens. And when you go through something like that in life, you don't really know how to have relationships. You don't understand a lot of things that are going on. You just survive. And when I got out as a teenager, I moved out by myself and thought, well, now I'm going to have a great life. And that definitely wasn't the case, because I wasn't equipped to make those decisions. And I got into terrible relationships, brutal, violent relationships, and rapes and abortion. By the time I was 21 years old, I was pretty well ready to give up. And I had a terrible nightmare my entire life about a huge snake that would attack me and rape me. And of course, as a child, I was told that I'm making up things and they're just bad dreams. But at a particular point at 21, I realized that mask had been removed, and I could see the truth of the situation that had really happened to me growing up. And it was overwhelming. I couldn't stop throwing up. I couldn't stop crying. And I found a counselor who helped me for years walk through that process of healing. And healing is not a one-step process. It is layers. It's layers and layers that you're going to go through in life. And I believe we'll go through those layers until we're not here anymore. And I know I do personally. But I was in my early 20s. I was able to start a nonprofit organization for women that were facing the decision of having abortions. And now, 20-some years later, I can look back on that. It's still going today, and I can see those babies that were saved because of the trauma and the mistakes that I made when I was younger. So that is one of the greatest gifts that God ever gave me, is to see generations of children and children's children. So God can remake your life. He can give you gifts, and He will show you your purpose if you're willing to get alone with Him and spend that time with Him. Now, when I was a very young child, I had a great Aunt Bella, and I loved her dearly. She died when I was 10 years old, and she planted trees with me and flowers. And she always told me God can be found in nature, and healing always takes place in nature. That's where healing makers comes from. Because for me, when everything's got rough, I would go lay under a tree and I would just talk to God about it. And part of the healing process is just getting alone, and it's a frightening experience, but it's taking the time to get alone and talk to yourself, talk to God, and face the reality. And God had given me a lot of dreams and visions, and I'm a believer, and God knows you better than anybody, and He knows how to talk gently to you and help you walk into things and trust things that you need to do. And one of the most important things when you've been traumatized in any kind of trauma, but it's to be able to either write about it and eventually be able to talk to at least one person about it, just to get that out of your mind, your body, your heart, your soul, because we carry the traumas around with us, and it can make us really sick if we don't get them out. And one of the most important things is just having somebody who is non-judgmental, that's going to be able to sit with you and talk with you and help you walk through that process to find your own purpose in life and your own gifts in life. And God has definitely taken me down that road, and I was able to write books and help people and find my purpose. And it's a wonderful purpose. About 1 in 4 women and 1 in 6 men are touched by some sort of a sexual trauma in life. So it is a huge topic. It's a topic that we don't like to talk about. I don't really enjoy talking about it, but it's something that needs to be talked about. Because what so many people do is they stuff it, and especially when it happens to you as a child, you stuff that down, and it's something that you couldn't control, you can't help, and you need to be able to talk about it. And years later in life, I thought I was doing great. I was a flight attendant, and there was a man just being a woman on the airplane, and her face was just not there. And we had to take the man down and restrain him and seatbelt extensions. And the whole time we were taking this man down, this woman was fighting us to save him. And I remember having nightmares about her, and I was screaming at her that, you know, we are trying to save you. Why don't you let us save you? And I woke up and I full of sweat, full of tears, and I realized that that woman was me. And no matter how much I had gone through and thought that I was healed in life, I was still allowing violence and bad relationships into my life. So I go back to the fact that healing is not a one-time thing. It is a journey. God reveals different things to you. And some relationships you have to get rid of, and not all of them, but violent ones you definitely do have to. But when we've been abused, we have a hard time with any kind of relationships. We have to learn new boundaries. We have to learn how to communicate. And we have to learn how to trust. And that's something that takes time. But, and the other thing that we have to do is be able to forgive ourselves for not understanding and not knowing, and just be patient with ourselves. And we learn to forgive others, not for them, but for ourselves, to be able to break those chains that they actually put on us and our hearts and our minds, and to be able to fly. And I'm just telling you that bad things do happen to us, but there are we are able to move through that. We are able to understand healing as a journey. And if you've been through any sort of a sexual trauma, and it doesn't have to be devastating, it's your story, you own that story. And if it's inside of you, you do need to get somebody to talk to you about it, and just help you walk through those emotions. And so I'm just going to encourage you to do that. And if you do need help with any kind of issues that you've had with incest, with domestic violence, rape, or abortion, please feel free to reach out to Healing Acres Never Again. Our website's healingacresneveragain.org. So thank you very much. I really appreciate you having me on today.
Oh my goodness. My goodness. As you were sitting there and you were sharing your story and everything that's happened to you in your life, the thing that I saw, and it kind of touched my heart, was that there's a light in your eye and there's a smile in your soul. And I tip my hat to you, because I was thinking about your childhood, what you had to deal with and all that. And, I'm going to be honest, there's no way I could say anything and tell you about all the wonderful things that you've been able to do in your life, and all the tragedy and everything you had to overcome in your life. Because my childhood was very simple. I mean, I got whipped for being all the things that I did. And I used to always hear my dad tell me, says, son, exactly when did that seem like a good idea to you? I mean, I grew up on a farm, and I know ladies that have been through some of the things that you have and all that. And my goodness gracious, I know there's going to be so many ladies out there can resonate with you. And of course, Crystal with her wonderful message, Tina with her message. And like I told Tina, I would hate to follow either one of you ladies. In fact, Crystal too. I mean, just put me in the rear of the bus and wake me up when it's over. I mean, because you're that powerful. Your messages are that incredible. And, Charlene, I just got to tip my hat to you and just say you're an amazing lady. You really, truly are. and you're going to bless so many people.
Thank you.
And
I just want them to know there's life after any horrible things that happen to us.
yeah, exactly. And because all of us, we have mental scars. All of us have things we have to deal with. And for many years, me being a Vietnam veteran, I struggled with that. I drank a lot during the 70s. When I say a lot, you know, a couple of 6-packs a night, 2 or 3 shots of tequila. And that's a lot, you know. It's too much. Like I tell people, I probably drank my fair share of beer and probably fudged in on a couple other guys' rations too, you know. But let me cut on the camera for Crystal, because I know Crystal would love to make some comments, and also with Tina, and let you lovely ladies, you know, communicate with each other. Tina, did you get the request turn on your?
Got it.
Okay, good. I mean, wow. As I'm sitting there listening to Charlene, and I'm going to let Crystal go first, then you, Tina. I mean, I'm just sitting there and I'm just going like, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I mean, poor lady. I mean, she's an incredible, incredible lady. And I saw the light in her eyes and the smile in her spirit. So I'm going to turn the mic over to you there, Crystal.
Well, Jim, I would just like to thank you once again for this opportunity. And part of what I want to just say is, you know, Tina, Charlene, and then even the other gentleman that was on, that this is just a phenomenal thing that you all are doing, and allowing people to share their stories. And especially with the topics that you've had today, Tina, you know, that that's a touching subject, as well as Charlene. Wow. So, you know, for both of you, I would like to stay connected, because there's so much more that we can do, you know, as we continue to connect on these kinds of platforms to help so many people. So hats off to both of you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Tina, I'm going to turn the mic over to you.
Yeah. So this was a pleasure to meet you all, and I definitely want to stay connected. Crystal, your energy is just out of this world. I love it. And Charlene, just for you to have that beautiful smile on your face while you're telling your story and the terrible things that you've gone through, and you're on the other side, it was an honor for me to be here to hear your story. So thank you for sharing that. And Jim, thank you for having me on here. It's been a delight.
Well, thank you very much. And Charlene, I tell you right now, you made an impression on me, young lady. You really have. I mean, the light in your eyes and smile in your spirit. I mean, you are a walking testimony of what it's like to forgive yourself, thank God, and nobody's going to hold you down. I mean, you're just a tremendous, tremendous lady. And I got to salute you. I'm an old retired master sergeant. I got to salute you, girl. I mean, I really do. I know you you didn't get a chance to hear Crystal or Tina that much, because you know, like me, I had trouble getting going this morning with Zoom. And for some reason, I guess the polar, you know, like I say, Jupiter got in line with Pluto and pulled a magnetic, you know, universe out of whack or something. But ladies and gentlemen, let me humbly say, these 3 beautiful ladies, they had a tremendous message today. Please, please, please share each one of their messages with others. And please get in touch with them and let them know that you really enjoyed their message, number 1. Number 2, you shared their message. And let me just say, to me saying it, Tina, how would that make you feel if someone got in touch with you and said, thank you?
Oh my gosh. I would probably just take it all and just thank you for reaching out. Just for someone to say, you helped me in what you said, that would be an honor.
And Crystal, how would that affect you if someone said that to you? Tears running down the face.
All the time. I get choked up all the time. And I talk to people about that too, that let people know how they're helping you. And it can be anonymous, it can be whatever, but let them know, because that just gives them that little extra nudge to go on, to jump into their greatness, as I talked about. So do that. And I appreciate it when I get it too.
Sure. And Charlene, share with them what that would mean to you.
Oh, it means the world. I really feel like that's what we're here to do. We're here for each other and we're here to help each other. So it would mean a lot to know that my story helps other people. That's what I want it to be.
Yeah. And it really touches me when people say that they shared the show or, make some comments, nice comments about me. Because really inwardly, I go, really? Wow. You kidding me? Me? Boy, I tell you right now, I'm going to brag about that for at least 20 minutes. But no, sincerely, please go to speakerspathway.com. Check out the messages of inspiration, hope, and support. All of our speakers are there. And we got pages and pages and pages of them. We're still adding them as quick as we can. Please click on the different speakers there. Find a message that resonates with you. Most importantly, you might see a message there. In fact, these 3 young ladies today, their message can resonate with probably someone you know. Please get in touch with them and say, hey, I've got a gift for you. Because everyone loves to receive a complimentary gift. And that's what we're all about, giving complimentary gifts. We've went a little bit over today, but we've had fun. Most importantly, the messages brought and delivered by Phil. He had to go to a Zoom call at 10. And Tina and Crystal and also Charlene. My. They make a host look good. All you got to do is just sit there and try to say something intelligent. And for me, that's a real mental challenge, okay? I want to thank you all. And I always like to close a show with this. If it's your birthday today, happy birthday to you. And most importantly, remember that on your birthday, all birthday cakes and all your special desserts that you love, they're health food. Don't let anybody tell you any different. So treat yourself. Have a wonderful day. God bless you. Thank you for tuning in. Give the ladies a chance to wave goodbye. Have a wonderful day. Bless you now. Bye-bye.
Bless you.